this country. Kind of want to ask your opinion on white privilege because I think I saw something on Facebook. Someone shared like a video or a picture, and I kind of want to just get your views on it, if you could, please.
Awesome. White privilege is racist. White privilege is a lie, and it is a myth.
Could you elaborate?
What's up, YouTube? Hope you guys are feeling good. My name is Elaru, and today I'm back with a new video and check out with you guys. This is called Race Beta Attempt to Outsmart Charlie Kirk. Fails. I'm not surprised, actually. Guys, now we do it. We talk less and we react more. Let's check this out.
As a Latino in this country, kind of want to ask your opinion on white privilege because I think I saw something on Facebook. Someone shared like a video or a picture, and I kind of want to just get your views on it, if you could, please.
Awesome. White privilege is racist. White privilege is a lie, and it is a myth.
Could you elaborate?
Happy to. White privilege is racist. Let's go through it. As soon as you begin to categorize certain individuals based on skin color, that in of an essence is racism.
Mm-hmm.
It is. If you say, oh, you're privileged because of your skin color, are you kidding me? I mean, you don't know about my background or my upbringing. All of a sudden you're generalizing an entire group of people just based on their skin color. That is racism. The definition of racism is putting a specific definition onto a group of people based on their skin color, a prejudice just based on their skin color. That is racism, whether it's a good prejudice or a bad prejudice. That is racism. Is it a lie? Absolutely, it's a lie. Now, have Caucasian Americans generally done better over the last, 100 years? Yeah, that's correct. But there's also other communities that have done much better. Asian Americans, for example. I never hear about Asian American privilege. Asian Americans are the wealthiest, most productive, least likely to commit crimes members of the American community. Where's their privilege? Is their privilege based in skin color? Absolutely not. There's privilege based in making good choices. When you make good choices, those choices are rewarded. Asian Americans entered mostly in the 1940s and 50s fleeing communism and Marxism. By doing so, they came into the American community widely discriminated against. In fact, if you ask your grandparents what they think of people from Asia, they won't say very nice things, especially your great-grandparents if they're still alive. They made very good choices. They did the three things you need to do to stay out of poverty in America, according to Ben Shapiro, which is you got to graduate high school, get a job, and get married before you have kids. And over the last 60, 70 years, they are by far the richest group that you can point to based on race in America, by far. So here's the perplexing thing, is that I said it's racist and it's a lie. What else did I say about it? I said something.
It's a myth.
It's very divisive, extraordinarily divisive. Because if you're going to start to categorize people just based on their skin color, then they're nothing more than that racial group. They're not an individual. It's not saying that you could rise above your circumstance. It's not saying you can make good choices. It's not saying that, oh, you might have been born behind and you can get ahead. We want to talk about white privilege. Here's a good question, and anyone who here believes in it, please step up to the microphone. We can have a discussion. It's a little, I don't think it'll offend anyone, but it might bring someone back. Here's a really good question to ask. Are Jewish people privileged? Are Jewish people white? Anyone? Are Jewish people considered white? Technically they are.
If you consider their history, I would say not.
Oh, they're not white. Then what are they?
They're Semites. They're from the Middle East, at least historically speaking.
Okay, so we don't have that as a box to check on the U.S. Census Bureau.
I think there should be.
Okay, so they should be Semites. Okay.
Well, not Semites, but
well, I mean that is the technical definition. But for lack of a better term, they are considered white.
I'm white and I'm Jewish, and I don't think that I'm considered anything but.
Yeah. So let's go to this.
I don't think it's a monolith, though. I mean, I think you can if you identify as white and a Jew, like that's fine. But I know like there are a lot of people who have a lot of connections to, especially like Israel.
Yeah. So but here's the point. Here's the point. The question is, if you categorize them as white, which you don't, most do, did they really have that good of a 20th century? Were they really privileged over the last 100 years? Really?
No.
Yeah, they had an extermination order put up against them in an entire continent. Here's the point, is that if we are going to try to segregate the American populace based on skin color, that is the very definition of everything that we have tried to fight against in this country. Everything. And despite even historical and statistical trends, it just isn't true. There's twice as many white people living in poverty in America than black people. Do they live at a higher rate? Absolutely they do. You talk in aggregate numbers, it doesn't reflect to that. So look, here's the point, is that it is anti-individual, and it is very much this idea of racial group collective that I think is extraordinarily harmful and creates this victimhood mentality that pits one group up against the other, that does not reward what America truly is, which is a place where good choices will eventually be rewarded. Go ahead and say something in response if you want to.
Yeah, just I guess one follow-up question. So you don't think that specifically regarding the United States, like the crippling, like systematic oppression of like the 60s and before that has like any kind of effect whatsoever on African American communities?
Great question. Okay, I'm glad you asked that. Say it again. So say it again, because I want to.
Do you think that the systematic oppressive laws of the 60s and prior to that have any kind of effect whatsoever on African American communities today?
Sure they did, but didn't the internment camps against Asian Americans in the 40s have something against them? They rose above it, right? So here's the question. Is America more racist today than we were in the 1960s? It's a legitimate question. Can anyone possibly say we're more racist today? No. Then why are blacks worse off today than they were in the 1960s? It's not because we're a more racist country. We're much less racist in every single metric. It's because we've incentivized bad behavior over the last 60 years. Black single motherhood was 18% in 1965. It's now 71%. What happened? Is it because we got to be a more terribly racist country? No. Did we get more racist laws? No, we actually got rid of most of all of them. Civil Rights Act, we got rid of almost every single one. So what happened? It's because we incentivized really, really bad behavior. We said to single mothers, go ahead, have kids, and we'll give you a check every single month. But don't get married. As soon as you get married, you lose the check. We put African Americans in urban areas and housing projects that, again, incentivize bad behavior. And that was the advancement of the American welfare scheme. Also coupled with failing public schools, run mostly by teacher unions that were not properly incentivized to try to get the people out of poverty that were very much in. By every single metric, African Americans are worse off today than they were in the 1960s, with crime, prison rates, single motherhood, employment, wealth capita, everything. And there's only one possible explanation for that. It's not that America got more institutionally racist, not any of that stuff. It's that there was a set of policies put forth by one president and continually supported by entire political party to keep a whole segment of the population poor and routinely voting Democrat. And that's Lyndon Baines Johnson and the American Democrat Party, which I think completely punished it. So if you want to talk about systemic oppression and racism, there's lots of other examples of ethnic groups that went through that too. If that's the card you want to play, it does not couple. Almost every single one except African Americans and Native Americans have not rose above it statistically. And the only thing they have in common is absolute total government interference and involvement in their life. Go, follow-up question?
Okay. Again, on this issue of race, skin color, and all that, I'm just going to ask this question. America is a white country, right? Now, Africa is mainly regarded as the black continent. But it's also safe to know that there are a few white countries in Africa. You know, Egypt, Algeria, few, just very few. So it's predominantly a black continent, as it's said, as it's called by terms of color. So I'm just going to ask this question. If America is predominantly a white country, then why shouldn't the owner of a house have rights in his own home? Because truth still remains that the African Americans and other races that came are visitors. And America belongs to the Red Indians. The Red Indians, yes, because they had red hair. I really have no idea where those people are. But as time went on, at least to the point of knowledge that I've managed to acquire, America is predominantly a white country. So why shouldn't the whites have a say of what goes on in their homes? As Charlie said, America is not as racist as it used to be then. Because that's the truth. Racism existed a lot in the 80s, in the 90s. America isn't as racist as it was then. So what then is the problem? And he said it's because the government has incentivized some policies. Things like single motherhood, you give them a check every month, and once you get married, that check stops. I mean, who wouldn't want to keep living on free money? Literally 80% of human beings would. They won't stop. That's why the numbers increased. And racism is actually decreasing. But I'm not saying it's not there. I mean, there's still some racist factors in both the blacks and the whites. I'm narrowing down to those two colors. No offense. There's still some racist factors in the two parts, but it's way decreased than it was then. And he asked a question. He said, "Are Jews privileged? And are Jews white?" The Israelites are white. That's their skin color. That's just the fact. Semitic is not a color per se. So the Jews, I feel that the Israelites are mainly called white people. And if we check history, they have been actively fought against at one point in time or the other. I mean, the most predominant story in history of Jews' onslaught was Adolf Hitler, Germany, Nazi fights, that war then. And he also gave the example that Jews were banned in an entire continent. I mean, these are white people, right? So, according to Shirley, how does this help to prove that white privilege exists? How does this fact, how does it tell you that this particular phenomenon, white privilege, how does it help to tell you that it exists? From what Charlie has told us, we can see that it doesn't. It really doesn't add up in this modern day. Maybe, per se, back then, when racism was still very predominant, maybe you could say, okay, yes, it's white privilege, the whites will surely be favored then, during the racist era. But now, when racism is gradually dashed into the rocks, I mean, why is this still being a constant tussle? Why is this still being a constant argument? Why is it still being a constant phenomenon that is brought up literally almost every time? Like the issue of racism as a whole, it just gets me really riled up, because I believe everyone should just learn to accept each other. It's not easy, but we'll get there, and we are getting there. I mean, sooner or later, it's just letting go of some particular beliefs, As Charlie clearly stated, if you ask your grandparents or great grandparents who's talking to college kid, they won't tell you good things about the Asians. No. Because at that point, everyone was doing what they wanted or what they felt they had to do to be on top. And the Asians had 3 rules for success, finish high school, get a job, and get married before you have kids. Most youths, not just in America, all over the world, flaunt these 3 rules. So how do you want to be successful? As Charlie said, privilege comes with your choices, not your skin color. How do you want to be someone in life when you don't have either, or you don't follow either of these 3 rules? Because sometimes financial factors can deaden the high school possibility, but then you can get a job. People with little or no level of education actually have a few jobs. It might not be that much to sustain you, but you get a job, and with time you can actually pursue that high school degree if there's still time. And a lot more problems will be, solved if people actually wait till marriage before they get kids. Because kids born of wedlock actually constitutes major setbacks in the economy and country as a whole. You can imagine when you're not earning enough and then you have 3 children out of marriage and 3 in marriage. I mean, you're struggling. That's literal struggle. But if you decide to wait till when you're married and get your kids, and for you to be married means you're at least financially stable, I believe even crimes will be reduced because people steal when they don't have. So if they're adequately provided for, some of these things would actually go down. And it's not pent upon race as a whole. These were just the 3 secrets of the Asians that Charlie shared with us. Guys, tell us what you think about this video in the comment section. Leave a thumbs up at the end of this video. And thank you, beautiful people for watching. Stay safe.